Close your eyes and imagine that rising steam in the heart of Rome, the smell of olive oil soap in the air, the voices of hundreds of people echoing off marble walls, and that deep rumble coming from beneath the ground. But here is the real question. How could this massive structure, hidden beneath tons of marble, stay warm even in the middle of winter 2,000 years ago in Rome? No boilers beneath it, no modern pipes, yet an invisible heat circulating beneath the floor, rising through the walls, heating the entire building like an oven. And this is no ordinary bathhouse. This is a giant complex where thousands of people gathered simultaneously, where political deals were made, where gossip spread, and where even Rome's most powerful men spent hours. On one side, ice-cold pools. On the other, steam rooms that made breathing difficult. And beneath the ground, a massive engineering system operated by hundreds of slaves. So how did the Romans build this giant structure when there were no iron cranes, no modern machines? And how did that hidden system concealed underground really work? Today, we will discover the engineering inside the Roman baths, one of the ancient world's most advanced spa centers, the social life, and the secret heating system underground. If you enjoy discovering these lost technologies of history and the behind-the-scenes of Rome's daily life, do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And a question for you. If you had lived in ancient Rome, would you have gone to these giant baths every day, or would you have stayed away from the crowds? Write your answer in the comments, because we are now entering Rome's steam-filled corridors. Stand now outside the Baths of Caracalla and try to comprehend what stretches before you. This is not a building, this is a city within a city. 25 hectares of marble, brick, and concrete rising from the ground like a palace designed by gods who decided humans deserved one afternoon of luxury. To give that scale meaning, 25 hectares equals roughly 35 football fields. Walk the perimeter and you will spend an hour just circling the outer walls. Inside those walls, 1,500 to 2,000 people move through the complex at any given moment, not standing still, moving, bathing, exercising, reading, arguing, negotiating. The sound is oceanic, a sustained roar of human activity contained within vaulted ceilings that amplify and echo every voice, every splash, every footfall on heated marble. This is not quiet relaxation. This is social immersion at a scale that makes modern gyms and spas look like closets. The complex contains swimming pools large enough that you could lose sight of the far edge through the steam. Exercise halls where men wrestle and lift stone weights, their grunts and the slap of flesh on flesh adding to the acoustic chaos. Gardens with fountains and walkways where philosophers debate and politicians whisper. Libraries holding scrolls that contain the accumulated knowledge of the Mediterranean world. Rooms where a citizen can read Virgil or study Greek philosophy between baths. This is not simply a place to wash. This is Rome's beating social heart, made architectural. But why does this monument exist? The answer is not hygiene. The answer is a man, Marcus Aurelius Antoninus, known to history as Caracalla, emperor from 198 to 217 AD. Caracalla inherited an empire and understood that empires are not maintained through military force alone. They require spectacle. They require the population to feel not just governed, but gifted. The baths opened in 216 AD, near the end of Caracalla's reign, and they functioned as propaganda rendered in marble and steam. Every citizen who entered this complex for free or nearly free received a message. Rome is powerful enough to build this. Rome is generous enough to share it. Your emperor cares about your comfort. But the grandeur you see above ground is only half the story.
Beneath your feet, invisible from this marble plaza, lies the true engineering marvel. Descend now into the spaces tourists never see, into the subterranean chambers that made the luxury above possible. The hypocaust. The word means simply heat from below, but that translation fails to capture what you are witnessing. An underground labyrinth where physics and labor combine to defeat winter. Stand in this basement corridor and look at what supports the floor above. You are not looking at solid foundation, you are looking at a forest. Thousands of small brick pillars, each about half a meter tall, arranged in precise rows, stretching into darkness. These pillars are called pile, and they hold up the entire floor of the bathing rooms above you. Between these pillars flows empty space, a gap of air that will soon become something else entirely. Now follow the corridor toward the sound of roaring flames. At the complex's perimeter, built into the outer walls where the smoke can vent safely, stand the furnaces. Not small hearths, industrial furnaces large enough that a man can stand upright inside them. Slaves feed these fires constantly, hauling wood from stockpiles that require acres of forest to maintain. The wood burns hot enough that the brick around the furnace mouths glows dull red, even in daylight. The heat from these furnaces does not simply rise and dissipate. It is channeled, trapped, forced to work. Hot air, being less dense than cold air, wants to rise, and Roman engineers built a system that exploits this natural behavior with ruthless efficiency. The heat flows out from the furnaces into the gap beneath the raised floors, that forest of brick pillars you observed. The hot air spreads horizontally, moving between the pillars, warming the floor from below. The marble above becomes hot to the touch, hot enough that some bathers wear wooden sandals to protect their feet. But the system does not stop at the floor. Look now at the walls. They appear solid from inside the bathing rooms, smooth marble or painted plaster. But if you could see through that decorative surface, you would find another hidden space. The walls are hollow. Between the inner decorative surface and the outer structural wall runs a narrow vertical cavity. The hot air that has warmed the floor continues upward, rising through this cavity inside the wall itself, heating the wall's surface as it climbs. The entire room becomes an oven. Heated floor, heated walls, heated air trapped by the vaulted ceiling above. In the caldarium, the hottest room, the effect is almost unbearable. The temperature reaches levels that make breathing difficult, that cause sweat to pour from skin within seconds of entering. This is not accident. This is calibrated engineering. Different rooms receive different amounts of heat based on their distance from the furnaces and the size of the air gaps in their floors and walls. The tepidarium receives moderate heat. The caldarium receives maximum heat. The frigidarium receives no heat at all, relying on cold water piped from distant sources to maintain its shocking chill. This is central heating. 2,000 years before modern humans claimed to have invented it, Rome had perfected underfloor radiant heat distribution. But engineering alone does not explain what happened in these heated rooms.
Enter the baths as a Roman citizen would and experience what that underground furnace makes possible. You arrive in the early afternoon, the customary time when shops close and the city's rhythm shifts toward leisure. The entrance fee is nominal, sometimes free on days when the emperor or a wealthy patron sponsors public access. You are not merely paying for water. You are purchasing an experience refined over centuries. The apoditerium greets you first, the changing room where social hierarchy briefly dissolves. Senators and shopkeepers undress side by side, placing their clothes in niches carved into the walls. Slaves stand ready to guard belongings, though theft remains common enough that wise bathers leave valuables at home. You remove your toga, your tunic, your sandals. Naked, you are simply Roman. The marble floor is pleasantly warm beneath your feet, heated by that invisible system below. Now you enter the tepidarium, the warm room. This is acclimatization, preparing your body for the extremes to come. The air here hovers at a temperature that feels like summer afternoon shade, comfortable but noticeably warmer than the changing room. The walls radiate gentle heat. You begin to sweat lightly. Attendants offer oil, which you spread across your skin. This is not soap. Soap is a Germanic innovation that Romans view with suspicion. Oil serves the same purpose, loosening dirt, opening pores, preparing skin for the strigil scraping that will come later. After perhaps 15 minutes in the tepidarium, when your body has adjusted to the warmth, you move to the caldarium. The transition is immediate and brutal. The heat hits like a wall. The air is so hot it sears your lungs on the first inhale. Steam rises from pools of water heated by bronze pipes running directly through the furnace rooms. Visibility drops to a few meters. The marble floor is dangerously hot now. Most bathers wear wooden bath clogs or walk carefully on their heels. You lower yourself into the hot pool, and the water feels paradoxically cool against your superheated skin before your nerves recalibrate and recognize the temperature for what it is, just below scalding. You stay in the caldarium as long as you can endure, perhaps 10 minutes, perhaps 20 if you are accustomed to the heat. Your heart pounds, sweat pours, toxins release, or so Roman medical theory claims. An attendant approaches with a curved bronze tool, the strigil, and scrapes the oil, sweat, and grime from your skin with efficient strokes. The discarded mixture falls to the floor in gray streams. Then comes the shock. You exit the caldarium and move directly to the frigidarium, the cold room. The temperature drop is violent. Where moments ago you struggled to breathe in superheated air, you now gasp as cold assaults your overheated body. The frigidarium's pool is fed by aqueduct water that never sees the furnaces, arriving at the temperature it held in the mountain streams miles away. You plunge in. The cold is absolute. It stops thought. Then your body adjusts, blood flow redirects, and an intense clarity emerges. You feel awake in a way that transcends normal consciousness. Finally, cleansed and invigorated, you emerge into sunlight at the Natatio, the open-air swimming pool. Here, the water is unheated but not frigid, pleasant under Rome's Mediterranean sun. You swim leisurely laps, while around you the complex hums with activity that extends far beyond bathing. The activity surrounding you at the Natatio reveals the bath's true purpose. These people are not here merely to wash. They are here to see and be seen, to conduct the business of Rome in an environment where formality softens and opportunity multiplies. Look around and observe what unfolds. To your left, two men in their 40s stand waist-deep in water, speaking in low voices. One is a grain merchant, the other imports wine from Gaul. They are negotiating prices, discussing shipping schedules, forming an agreement that will move thousands of amphorae across the Mediterranean. No contracts are written here, no lawyers witness the arrangement. But the deal is binding nonetheless, sealed by reputation and the witnesses who surround them. A merchant who breaks a bath agreement will find himself excluded, unable to conduct business in the only environment where Rome's commercial class can meet as equals. Beyond the pool, in the exercise yards, younger men engage in physical competition. Some wrestle, their oiled bodies grappling on sand-covered ground.
Others throw heavy stone balls or practice with wooden swords, maintaining the fitness that citizenship demands. These are not professional athletes. They are lawyers, administrators, mid-level officials, keeping their bodies strong because Roman culture still values the warrior ideal, even as the empire grows too large for every citizen to serve in the legions. But even here, business occurs. A young patrician wrestling with a freedman's son might secure an invitation to dinner, might gain introduction to a father who controls lucrative contracts. Physical proximity breeds opportunity.
In the libraries and shaded porticos, philosophers hold court. A stoic teacher sits on a marble bench surrounded by students discussing virtue and the proper relationship between individual will and cosmic fate. A few meters away, a rival Epicurean mocks Stoic austerity, arguing that pleasure, rightly understood, is the highest good. These debates are not academic abstractions, they're guides to living, attended by men seeking practical wisdom about how to navigate Rome's complex social hierarchies. And between the philosophical discussions, gossip flows like water. That senator was seen leaving a certain actress's villa at dawn. That merchant's ships have not returned from Egypt on schedule, suggesting either shipwreck or financial ruin. The emperor's mood has soured. Appointments are being delayed. This information has value. Knowing which senator is distracted by scandal, which merchant is desperate for credit, which imperial official is in favor or falling from grace, can mean the difference between profit and bankruptcy, between advancement and stagnation. The baths function as Rome's forum without the forum's formality. Here, a freedman can approach a senator without causing offense. A client can petition a patron without the usual protocols. Hierarchies persist, but soften in the steam and water, allowing conversations that would be impossible in the structured environment of the Forum Romanum or the Senate House. This is why the baths are free, or nearly free. This is why emperors maintain them at enormous expense. These buildings are not charity, they are infrastructure as essential as roads or aqueducts, enabling the social and commercial networks that hold the empire together. But maintaining this infrastructure requires resources on a scale that strains even Rome's vast wealth. The social network you have witnessed requires a foundation more massive than the marble floors suggest. Look up at the hills surrounding Rome and trace the stone channels cutting across the landscape. Those are aqueducts, engineered rivers that capture mountain springs and transport water dozens of kilometers into the city. The Baths of Caracalla draw primarily from the Aqua Marcia, one of Rome's oldest and most reliable water sources, supplemented by the Aqua Antoniniana, built specifically to serve this complex. The volume defies casual comprehension. The baths consume millions of liters daily. The swimming pools must be continuously refreshed to prevent stagnation. The hot pools require constant flow to maintain temperature as bathers enter and exit. The cold pools need steady supply of fresh mountain water. The fountains in the gardens, the drinking stations, the latrines, all demand water that arrives under pressure created by gravity and elevation, flowing through lead and terracotta pipes buried in the walls and floors you walk across. Beneath the bathing rooms, in those furnace chambers where the hypocaust generates its heat, more than 50 individual furnaces operate simultaneously. Each requires constant feeding. Slaves work in shifts, hauling wood from supply yards, stoking flames, removing ash, monitoring temperatures to prevent the fires from dying or burning too hot. Other slaves maintain the water systems, clearing debris from pipes, adjusting flow rates, repairing leaks. Engineers inspect the structure constantly, searching for cracks in the concrete, weakness in the vaulted ceilings, any sign that the enormous weight and thermal stress are causing structural failure. This is not a building. This is a machine,
requiring hundreds of people to operate, consuming resources that would bankrupt any entity less wealthy than the Roman state, and it is only one of many. Rome contains dozens of bath complexes, each demanding water, fuel, and labor. The empire maintains this infrastructure for the same reason it maintains roads and legions, because without it, Rome ceases to function as Rome. But empires do not last forever. In the 5th century, as Rome's power contracts and Germanic tribes press against the borders, the maintenance becomes impossible to sustain. The aqueducts are cut during sieges, their arches broken to deny water to defenders or attackers. The slave economy that provides labor collapses. The forests that supply fuel are depleted. The engineers who understand the systems die without passing their knowledge to successors. The Baths of Caracalla, along with Rome's other thermae, fall silent. The furnaces go cold, the pools empty. Squatters move into the vast halls, building crude shelters against walls that once radiated imperial heat. Earthquake damage goes unrepaired. Stones are quarried for other buildings. Vegetation takes root in cracks, slowly prying apart the concrete and brick. Today, the ruins stand open to the sky, their vaulted ceilings collapsed, their marble stripped, their engineering exposed. You can walk through the hypocaust chambers freely now, seeing the pile that once supported heated floors. You can stand where emperors and slaves once bathed together, where Rome's business was conducted in steam and water. Modern spas and gyms echo the Roman model without understanding its scale or purpose. We have hot tubs and saunas, but we have lost the vision of bathing as civic infrastructure, as the physical space where society performs itself. The technology survived in fragments. The social function did not. Rome gave us heated floors, running water, and the idea that public luxury serves public order. Then Rome fell, and we forgot why luxury mattered.